Can we start?
Yeah.
Okay, Bezrat Hashem. Thank God today we're gonna try answer some more important questions. We're dedicating today's class to Refuah Shlema of Tirza Bat Sarah and also to Leilui Nishmat for the benefit of the soul of Aryeh ben Abraham HaKohen בתוך שאר נשמות ישראל. So, yes, please.
A couple weeks ago, you talked about the fear was very good. Yeah, the person asked me. You said that shooting down terrorists and revenge is worthless. We just have to go out, shout from the roofs, pray, talk to Hashem. Okay. Someone asked me, okay, he agrees with that. He sees that. He sees it 100%. But he said our ability to stop an event. You're there, and if you had a gun, you could shoot down the terrorist. So, but from person says, from what you said, don't get guns, get nothing, just talk and pray. I said, wouldn't it be possible, like the Maccabim prayed, and that's what gave them the power, because they were outnumbered, they were out there and out there.
Okay, so wonderful question, and the answer is also very simple, and I thought that it was clear. I'm gonna try to explain it again. From that situation that we can see that after every terror attack, the people over there in that scene, in that situation, are shooting him dead most of the times. It's a very powerful act that shows a lot about our power as a nation to deal with that situation. Even though that we're not able to stop it before it happens, our prayers are not strong enough, or our secret intelligence is not strong enough to find everything before. We're not able to achieve it, but still we see that we're standing like a strong, stable, very powerful wall, and we're not accepting it, we're not letting it be. On the moment that it starts, we're already uprooting it from the source of it. So that shows on a lot of powers that we have. So there is no doubt that a person has to be very powerful and very strong with himself, and to be ready to protect his life and the life of all of his friends and relatives, the ones that he cares about and love. And but from the other side, you don't need to let the violence and the fear to overpower on you and on your common sense to decide that you're going to go and revenge, that you're going to go and get crazy, and you're going to go and look at that wild and weird situation that happened 2 days ago with that poor guy that went out from the car after those Arabs, Palestinians, threw stones at his car. He went out to chase after that person with a bat, with a stick, and then he been run down, died, killed by a car. That was so. If he would stay in the car to go and chase after Arabs and to kill them, if you have a gun, if you're a police officer, if you okay, I can understand it, but to risk yourself and to risk the life of the family. And also the day after, another 4 soldiers were driving, or 4 young people were driving the car. Those Ishmaelim threw stones at them, so they're running out from the car to chase after those. And then Pigua Drisa, hit and run, and they're driving and they're hitting them. So you need to be wise. Now in the middle of the night, in the middle of the darkness, now you go and chase, and I don't know, I'm not saying, I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying from my side, you need to be strong to protect yourself and your family and your friends and simple innocent civilians that are with you in the same place. You need to do the maximum that you can do, but between that to that understanding that you should take the law into your hands, and to go and to revenge and to burn fields of Ishmaelim and stab Ishmaelim, and you don't know who is an Arab and who is not, and It's a very silly thing to do. It's a very silly thing to do. You don't know who you're stabbing, who you're doing it to. And even if he's a Palestinian and Arabic, you think that Hashem Yitbarach doesn't care about them. Hashem doesn't. No, Hashem, He loves us. So what? So Hashem hates them? No. Hashem likes truth. Hashem likes justice. Hashem likes honesty. Hashem likes kindness. Hashem likes purity. Hashem likes good intentions, goodwill. Hashem doesn't like Jews and hate Arabs. No, Hashem loves everyone. He loves all of His children, but He hates bad behavior. He hates people that are acting out of their cruelty and out of their bad attributes. So if you see people acting bad, so you can understand for sure that Hashem is with you and He supports you. So you can have more confidence and power to say, I'm the one that is right here in this situation, I can continue, I can move on. But it doesn't give you now the permission to go and to kill other people because you're angry. Some person now, some terrorist, 20 years old, stabs someone, and you're now going to go and take all of your anger on a 13 years old kid from Azaria. It's not a solution. It's not right. That's not justice. The Nazis, the German nation, killed 6 million Jews 70 years ago. Okay, now let's us go to Germany and kill the Germans. It's not a revenge. You cannot revenge like that. Those people now that lives in Germany, they're not the ones to kill on the crime of the Holocaust 70 years ago. You cannot take children from the kindergarten and kill them because that their grandfathers 70 years ago killed your ancestors. You cannot do that. It's stupid. That's not revenge. It's not the revenge of Hashem. That's not what Hashem gonna do. That's not what Hashem gonna do in Judgment Day when Hashem gonna revenge. That's not what He gonna do. The revenge gonna be, that's actually what those Palestinians are doing now. What they're doing, they have certain anger on the state of Israel. They have a certain frustration from the state of Israel. Okay, let's see what you're talking about. No, they're not talking. What they're doing, taking a 72 years old woman and stabbing her in her stomach. Taking a soldier and shooting him from the back. And take his gun and go and shoot and kill other 20 people in Central Station in Be'er Sheva. What? What are you doing? No, that's our weapon. That's your attitude. So we're going to fight with you with all of the powers. With all of our powers, not to let you hurt no one and not to hurt civilians and simple people. We're going to protect ourselves with all of the powers. And that's our hishtadlut. If you feel that to buy a gun, to have license for a gun, and to protect, that's the way that you're going to protect your family and your friends, do it, no problem. But now to sit when you're bored with your gun and to think who you're going to shoot next and how you're going to kill someone that no one's going to catch you or I don't know what. Oh, that's not our attitude. That's not the will of Hashem. That's not written in no place in the Holy Torah, in the Holy Bible. It doesn't even written in the Quran and in the New Testimony, so to speak. It doesn't written even in those places. Even for them it's not allowed to kill. But they're killing. Why they're killing? Because they're crazy. Not because it's justified, because it's allowed. No one really sends them to kill except of murderers. The prophets never said those things. I heard that it doesn't written it. Milchemet mitzvah, war of mitzvah. It's a great thing, no problem. If it's justified. You're not going to decide what's justified and what's not justified. You're not going to decide if now it's the time to make a war of mitzvah or not. And if you will and you're wrong, you're going to pay for that mistake. If you're right, so great. Also Pinchas ben Elazar, he took a spear and he went and he killed Zimri. Great. He knew what he was doing. He took the full responsibility on himself. If he was wrong, he was wrong. When that Haredi went and stabbed that poor girl in the gay parade over there and killed that poor girl, so he took the responsibility and the blood is on his hands. And now he's in prison. He killed a poor girl because that he decided that he is a Pinchas ben Elazar. Great, okay, that's your decision. You're that crazy that you took that decision and you took a life of a young girl. Do you know who that woman is? Why Hashem is saying to Cain, the blood of your brother, called dameh, plural, he says. The blood, it's plural. In Lashon HaKodesh, in Hebrew, when you say dameh achicha, the bloods, it's plural, you say. Why? Because it's not only him. You didn't kill Hevel and that's it. You killed half of the world when you killed Hevel. You killed Hevel and all of his children that were supposed to come through him, and all of his grandchildren, and the rest of the dynasty forever. You killed all of them. You know who you killed now in that gay parade? Are you crazy? You take the responsibility to kill someone? When Moshe Rabbeinu killed the Egyptian, so it's written over there, Vayar she'en ish, that he checked that there's no one there. What it means, the Mefarshim are explaining, Rashi is writing that he checked that from all of his future generation that's going to come through him, there is no one that's going to convert. Means that he's useless. When he realized that that Egyptian person is useless, when he, with his pure eyes, with his huge ability to see, he saw that that person doesn't have no future in front of him, so he realized that he can kill that one, and he killed him. Like that you have a mitzvah to kill Amalekites. Okay, because the Torah tells you, but today that you don't know if he is Amalekites or not, you don't know. And you don't know even if he looks Amalekites, and even if he seems like, and even if he's claiming to be, you don't have the permission to go and to kill an Amalekites. Unless if you are Rav Sonnenfeld. That Rabbi Sonnenfeld, he knew. One time Rabbi Sonnenfeld, he killed an Amalek. He killed an Amalek. I think there's also on the Gaon Mivilna or something like that. There was a story, if I'm not wrong. That what he saw and he knew that person is Amalek. It's a impure Amalek. He's all Amalek. Okay, now you have a mitzvah. Go kill him. Do you know if that Palestinian is 100% your enemy? In 100% you know it. If you don't know it, so you cannot push the trigger. Here a person tried to stab Ishmaeli in IKEA store, and he stabbed a Jew. He looked at him, he thought he's Arabi, he told him, you're damn Arabi, and he stabbed him. He's screaming, I'm a Jew, what are you doing? Crazy, it's craziness. That's not our way. That's not our way. We don't want to have no blood on our hands. That's not our way. We never do things like that. There was a story that I told you that story long time ago, an amazing story. I'll tell you that again today. There was a person, a Palestinian kid here in Eretz Israel, that he was a very intelligent kid, and he was going to their school. Over there they were learning Quran. It was a very religious school, and he's learning Muslim family, and he learns in school. That poor kid was always been beaten by his father and his brothers. The father and his brothers, they hated him. Always they were beating him and insulting him and hurting him. He was a very poor kid and very intelligent. One day in school came a very big and important sheikh to talk. And he was saying things against Am Yisrael, that you need to go and kill the Jews and to make the war of jihad and stuff like that, and that you need to murder Jewish people. So that poor kid lifted his hand in the air and he asked the mistake of his life, or maybe the salvation of his life. He asked, where is it written in the Quran that you need to go and kill Jews? That kid, he knew the Quran by heart. It doesn't written that you need to kill Jews. In the Quran, it's written that you need to respect Jews, that you need to respect all of the seed of Abraham Avinu, all of his children for the generation, especially the nation. We received the Torah. Christians, they also, I met a person on the way back from Uman. We made a stopping in Amsterdam. I'm walking with my family with our suitcases. Some Christian person comes to us, start to help us with the luggage. I say, hello, shalom aleichem, how are you? And he's talking and talking. And that person, he believes in Jesus, and he's full with faith in Jesus, and he loves the New Testimony, and he admires the Bible, and he loves the Jews. Why? Because we had the merit to receive as a nation the Torah from Mount Sinai, and none of the other nations had that merit. And he thinks that we're in a mistake, that we're not accepting Jesus. That's what he thinks, that's his faith. But it doesn't stop him from loving us and appreciating us on our merits, on the good things that from his perspective we do have. So that's the way to think. All right, you believe in Jesus. Great, go believe in Jesus. I don't mind. Go, do whatever you want. You believe in Muhammad. Great, no problems. Check the Quran. In the Quran, it doesn't say a bad word about us. So now what they're saying, no, those are not the real Jews. Oh, you know. You know who is real Jew and who is not a real Jew. What are you talking about? It's nonsense. So they don't know. And we ourselves also don't know. So that young kid, he was beaten by his father and brothers, and he asked that sheikh, where is it written? And that sheikh was very embarrassed because it doesn't written nowhere. So he immediately shouted him, and the teachers over there took him and punished him, and they invited the father to know that his rude kid was insulting the important sheikh today in school and embarrassing him and asking rude questions. And of course he went back home and he got real nice education that day. At night his mother came to him. She held him, she was crying. She told him, listen, you don't have a future in this place anymore. You're 14 years old, you're gonna manage. Go, leave the village. Go find your future. Go live somewhere else. Your father gonna kill you one day. You're not gonna make it. Go. And he was crying and she was crying, and he took some, I don't know what, and went. And he went to some Jewish city, and he found a certain garage, a musach, that people working, Jewish worker working over there. And he asked for a job, and they let him. And because that he was homeless, they let him stay in the garage. And like that, he spent his life until he was 17. 3 years he was working, I think, in that garage, and he was sleeping every night in the garage, working during the day. And the Jews, they loved him, and he was a very friendly person. Everyone loved him. And during Shabbos, that it's a day that we're not working in Shabbos, so he didn't have a place to be. So they were hosting him. The workers from the garage were taking him to their houses, and they were hosting him for Shabbos, and they gave him Shabbos meals. And one year, in the third year, I think, it was the year, in that year there was, the Yom Kippur was in Shabbos. The day of the fast, that we're fasting, all of Am Yisrael are fasting, was in Shabbos. So they told that guy, listen, Muhammad, you cannot come to our house this Shabbos, we're sorry, it's Yom Kippur, we're not eating nothing, we're not drinking, there's no reason for you to come, so buy some food for yourself and stay in the garage. So he didn't really have what to do, so at night, it was Friday night, and he went for a walk. It was night, the garage was closed, nothing there, so he started to walk. He saw Jews walking with talitot, wrapped themselves with talit, and going to shul, going to Bet Knesset. While they went to the Bet Knesset, he started to walk after them. He was interesting to see that what they're doing. He went into the Bet Knesset, to shul, and he heard them singing Lecha Dodi Likat Kala. While they're singing Lecha Dodi Likat Kala, he started to cry. The song that we're accepting Shabbos, and that young guy started to cry, and he's crying and crying and crying. And he doesn't know why he's crying, and no one else understands who he is and what he's doing over there without talit. And he went back to the garage, and he cried all of the Shabbos, and he didn't understand what happens with him, nothing. After Shabbos, he decided he's going to go to visit his mother. He went back to the village in the time that his father wasn't home, and the rest of his brothers, no one is there. He went home, knocked on the door, his mother opened. After 3 years they haven't met. They hugged, they kissed, they were crying, everything. While they're talking, he told her on his weird experience that he had, that he went to shul, to Bet Knesset. He told her, I'm working in a garage, and nice Jews, they're helping me, they're feeding me, I have nice salary, I'm saving money, this and that. He probably gave her money, whatever, and everything. And he told her, I went to Bet Knesset, it was Yom Kippur, and I started to cry. I heard that song, and I started to cry. While he's telling her that, she started to cry also. He asked her, why are you crying? She said, no, and he started to take it out from her. Why are you crying? She said, listen, I'm Jewish. I'm a Jewish woman, and I converted to Islam to marry your father. And the reason that your father, he hated you all of those years, it's because you looked like 2 drops of water for my brother. You look exactly like my brother. And that's the reason that your father, he hates you, because you're reminding him of my brother, and he hates my brother that is Jewish. So this is why always they called you Jewish, and always they were hitting you, and you're Jewish. And you and the rest of your young brothers, you're all Jewish. And she took out a picture that she had, and she gave it to her son, and she told him, I don't know who that grave belongs to, but that's one of our ancestors, and I don't know who it is. She gave him that picture, and he went, of course, back to the garage, shared, talked, explained all of his story to his friends. The friends told him, Sachbak, you're a Jewish. You're Jewish, that's it, no more. But he needs to go to a rabbi to help him to come back to Judaism. They took him to a rabbi. That rabbi took it very seriously to help that young guy, and he shown him the picture. He took that picture, he told him, I'm going to help you to find out from which family you are. We're going to find the source of that picture. He took that picture, he asked this and that, very old ancient picture. That picture is the picture of the grave of the tzaddik Rabbi Shlomo El-Kabetz that wrote Lecha Dodi. He is the righteous man that wrote Lecha Dodi. He is one of the ancestors of that woman, of that kid. There is a 14 years old Palestinian works in a garage, and you now want to stab him. You want to revenge on terror attacks in Be'er Sheva, in Kiryat Gat, in Ra'anana, in Jerusalem, and now you saw a 14 years old kid, Aravi, looks Aravi, seems to be Aravi. What's your name? Muhammad. His name is Muhammad, and you want to stab him. You allowed to do that? I'm not allowed to do that. I don't know who I'm stabbing. I don't also want to do it, so for me it's not a question, and I'm not gonna. But you don't know. Your eyes cannot see nothing. The eyes of Shmuel HaNavi couldn't recognize David HaMelech. The eyes of the prophet Shmuel HaNavi, that was greater than Moshe and Aharon together, couldn't recognize David between his brothers to know who is the king, who is the next king. He couldn't. Hashem sees their hearts. You don't know. That was the answer to the first question. Yes. We know that. Guys, that's it. You know everything. I can ask you questions. I have a lot of questions to ask.
In the shiur you gave a few days ago about how to deal with terror attacks, you went on for about 3-5 minutes about the Arabs, they're not human, they're not people, they're garbage. You went on and on. And you said it's a yetzer. You said we as Jewish people, we come from light. You can look at the video you put out.
I suggest that you're going to see it again, to see that I said they, and then I said again they, and I didn't say Arabs. After it, in the end, I mentioned one time the word Ishmaelim, and also Ishmaelim. Between you and me, I done tshuva on that. I'm telling you my secret. I done tshuva on that. But not because you don't allow to take an individual and to put it into a certain klal, generalize. Because so why? Because for sure, I know for sure there are Ishmaelim Palestinians that now they live here in Eretz Israel, and the thing that they want the most is to have peace with us. Why? Not because they love us so much, also maybe they do, but because they see that through our government and our way of life they can succeed a lot more. They rather to live under the government of Jewish people than to live under the government of Muslim people. That you can see here for sure. You can see thousands of Ishmaelim like those. Now here today, Palestinians that lives in Eretz Israel, for sure. Why? Because they rather to keep their job in the bank and not to be under the Rashut HaPalestinite. Is it the Rashut HaPalestinite? Palestinian authorities. They know that over there it's all bribes, it's all crimes, it's all criminals, it's all blood and the rest of the worst things that can be. So they don't want to be under their government. But When I mentioned and I said their children are not children, their women are not women, and they are not soldiers, I meant about those murderers. I meant about people that can take themselves and go and doing vicious crimes. How a child that is 13 years old can even imagine and think to himself to take a knife with his cousin that is 17 years old and to go and run in the streets of Pisgat Ze'ev and to look for innocent people to stab. I have a kid, Lahavdil, that is also almost 13 years old. He's playing marbles. He's learning for his bar mitzvah. He plays with Lego and Playmobil. He learns a little bit of Gemara. He will never going to take a knife and run and stab people in the streets. Even the worst enemies, it will never going to cross his mind. That's not a child. That's a demon. That's an evil ghost that takes a knife and go to stab people. And if he's 17 years old, so he's also a demon, he's vicious, he's from the army of the Satan, of the devil. There's no doubt about it. The tshuva, the regret that I had on the words that I said in that class was only on generalization. On that. Because even if we as a nation going to come to that decision, and now the state going to follow and keep that, and the army going to follow those obeys and rules, and the police, and we're going to decide to take away even all of the Palestinians out of Eretz Israel. Let's say that decision been took now by the Israeli government. Okay, you're all refugees, you all go look for your own new houses in Syria, in Jordan, in Egypt. Dash going to take care of you. No matter what's going to happen, if we're going to take that decision, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that like that if they would do that to us. We would never going to do that like the Nazis done that to us. Not like the Spanish nation done that to us. Not like the Italian nation done that to us. Not like the British nation done that to us. And not like that the American nation is... They have that plan in the drawer what to do one day, how to get rid of the minorities, what to do with them if one day they will not gonna cooperate enough to the government. So we will never gonna do that. Even if we will decide to take that decision to excommunicate them from our territory, from our homeland, and we're going to take that decision, even then we're going to have a lot of derech eretz, and we're going to suffer a lot from our derech eretz, and we're going to have a lot of people that are going to be hurt because we're going to be too polite and too nice and too kind while doing that. And even today you can see soldiers that are running and fighting, and they're stopping to help a little girl and to give her food and to help her to not to cross the line of fire, and they're arguing and talking to those Ishmaelim that are coming and fighting with them, and go and see what the Ishmaelim are doing between each other in Syria, between brothers over there, and they're harvesting each other, slaughtering each other. 3,000 in a day. Daesh are going and slaughtering another group and another village and another. They don't care, couldn't care less about their own blood. And we are terrified not to spill one drop of blood of a person that is our enemy. Now in Eretz Israel today we're judging, the state is judging people if they were supposed to kill that terrorist or maybe just to shoot him in the legs or whatever. A person that killed. Now we're judging ourselves if we were supposed to kill him or not. In other places, there is no place in the world, there's no one place in the world that would be so democratic like us. No state is democratic like us. No state in the world, for sure not United States of America, for sure not. On every doubt, on every thought, on every thought that they have, immediately. We don't have death penalty, right? One time we had the death penalty to Eichmann, to a person that was responsible on the death of more than 2 million Jews, and generally all of the 6 millions, because it was very, very a high job over there in the kingship of evilty. And also then, just that you will know for the recollection, you say, just for the record, that also then, after that the judgment came to kill him, there were rabbis and people of public people, important people, that said, let's not kill him. After that court said, let's kill him, they said, let's not kill him. Let's show the world that we're not killing, and we'll take him and bring him back to Germany and tell them, you take care of him. We don't want him here. There was a huge argument here in Eretz Israel after the death penalty, if to kill him or not. In the end, they decided to kill him. With all of the kindness, and they were taking care of him. No one cursed him, no one hit him, no one nothing. They were honoring him and respecting him as a prisoner, and they gave him everything he needed and took care of him. He also took care of us. More than 2 million Jews, he was responsible physically to kill them. And we treated him so nicely and with all due respect. And so what? We killed him in the end. We're not like that. We're a different nation. And you know what? We don't need to give no explanations to no one. And not that no one gonna likes us. No one likes us anyway. And the ones that have that point of truth, they're gonna like us anyway. No matter what, because they see the point of truth. They see we're good people. They see we're doing only good things. We're just trying to help. How many good things we've done in the world until today? There is no one nation that gave so much to humanity like us. Not one nation that helped so much, that brought so many doctors, so many scientists, so many lawyers, so many wise people, so many people that were building and supporting economy, kalkala, parnasa, so many groups of charity belongs to Jews and and they're also supported by Jews in the world. And we don't need to explain it, and we don't need to wave it, because we just need to know it ourselves. We need to know it. We need to remember that. How many good things we've done. Who are we really? And we were always going to be like that. To say, go kill the Arabs, to go kill them, even to transfer them, there are different people. There are, to the terrorists, for sure you need today to take them away from here. You're not allowed to permit them to live here for another day. The families that were helping them, for sure. You have levels, you have scales, you need to measure. And you need to have a conscience, you need to have a heart when you take decisions about human beings. And even if they're your enemies, also if they're your enemies, you're not allowed to abuse your enemies, you're not allowed to not to spare them and not to have mercy on them. We have our rules. What can we do? We're forced. We're like Hashem. We have our rules, we have our justice, we have our truth. So it's true that they are our enemies because they want to kill us. That's the reason that they are our enemies. We couldn't care less what they're going to do with their lives. We're not going and looking for Arabs to kill. We're not doing that. We've never done that. It never happened in Europe. It never happened in Africa, and it never happened nowhere that we've been. Jewish are going killing Ishmaelim, Jewish are going killing Christians. Christians were making stories that we're using the blood of kids for our matzot. Are we using blood for our matzot? Would we eat it if it would have a drop of blood? We're not touching blood, we're not allowed to eat blood. We're slaughtering the animals because we're not allowed to eat their blood. That's the reason we're killing the animals like that with a knife, that all of the blood is going to come out, because we're not allowed to eat the blood. Christians are electrifying the animals, poisoning them, shooting them in the head, whatever, because they want to enjoy the blood, because the taste of blood in the flesh, in the meat, is tasty. Jewish are ruining the taste of the meat by slaughtering the animal. So now we're going to use blood for our matzot? That's craziness. We're not touching no one. We're not allowed to kill. We're obeying, we're keeping Torah mitzvot. We're not just having that book in our bookcase. We are Shomrei Torah mitzvot. We're keeping the rules of the Torah. That's us. So we're not killing, we're not stealing, we're not hurting, we're not raping. They don't have no rules. You know how they built the Kippat HaSela, the golden mask? You know how they done that? Groups of robbers were running and stealing money and jewelries and rings and golden teeth from people, and they were bringing it all to that sheikh of that generation, and from all of that loot, they built the Kippat HaZahav. That's their holy place. That's how they made it so holy. They were taking and raping and forcing people to give their own golds. They were robbing people. They had to have a lot of gold now. Groups of robbers, of murderers would go and rape and force people to give their own gold and silver, and they built their imagination. It's a husk, it's not a musk. It's a Kippat HaZahav. It's not pure. It just covers on the purity of the place, because the place is pure. Bore Olam, the Creator, created the world from that place. So there's a big Yetzer Hara now on that place. There is a big fight on that place. Because it belongs to good. To uncover, and darkness tries to cover, to block it. No, Jews will not going to be allowed. Why? It's a democracy. Isn't it a democracy? What is it, a Palestinian state? Nice. Nice. The nations, when they were declaring on a state, they were not declaring on a Palestinian state. They were not. We were the ones that gave the Palestinian that idea to create and make a state here also. We made that mistake. And we're paying on our mistakes. It was our idea. It wasn't their idea at all. It was our idea to give them part of the lands and part of them. We're stupid. We're so naive. We're 100% naive. That's us. Thank you guys. Chazak u'baruch. Thank you for not being politic.